Hello and welcome, one and all, to the Never Seen It Oscar special for 2026. This is the 6th year in a row we are doing this, and we're happy to have you all here. My name is Trent. I'll be your host today. I'm sitting here with Betsy.
I'm the other host. I am also here.
You're also here, Betsy, and you experienced all 10 Oscar-nominated movies for Best Picture this year along with me. And as we do every year, we come together at the end of the season to rank every single Best Picture nominee.
But this year is a little different because we didn't have to wait until the end of the season. This special typically comes out on Oscar Sunday. But in a rare turn of events, we were actually able to access all 10 Best Picture nominees with weeks to spare. Usually, we are mad dashing to the finish line because there's some obscure movie that gets a nomination and it's only playing at one theater and only like 3 days before our episode has to drop.
Yeah, and if you guys are not aware, we live in South Dakota, so a lot of these real artsy-fartsy kinds of movies that get nominated for Best Picture, they don't play here.
At least not right away. It has to have a demand of some kind.
Absolutely. And thankfully, our local art house theater does show these movies on occasion, but thankfully, we didn't even have to use them this year. Everything was either at the main theater or we were able to rent them digitally. And really, before we start talking about the movies here, this is how this special is going to work. Betsy and I have independently ranked every single Best Picture nominee from 1 to 10. Betsy has her list. I have my list. We're going to go through alphabetically and tell you where on the top 10 they all fell.
And we've only watched each of these movies one time. Now, if we had waited a couple of weeks until the Oscars actually is airing and had that extra time, this might have been the year I convinced Trent to watch them all twice. But if we were only able to rewatch a handful and the rest of them we only saw once, it feels like an unfair advantage.
Yeah, it's not fair to the other ones that we can't watch again. I mean, really, we saw the movie Sinners last summer, I think, and we just saw F1 last week. So for some of these, there's going to be a really huge gap. But what we are allowing ourselves to do is re-listen to all of the episodes that we've already put out just to give ourselves a refresher as to, okay, these are the moments that I remember really liking and what was my reaction coming out of the theater and things like that.
It's the joy of doing things in real time. You're getting our honest reaction immediately after watching the movie. And you might actually listen to the episodes and you remember something you kind of forgot about the movie from so many months ago. Because a lot of these, even if it wasn't as far back as the summer, we watched some of these in like October, November. And that's still a number of months ago.
So yeah, just to clear the air, that's kind of how we are approaching this special and all of the other specials that we have done.
But frankly, if the movie is strong enough, it doesn't need a rewatch. So we're going to see if it mattered, Trent. Just a hint of things to come.
Yeah. So why don't we get started, Betsy? Ladies first, we're going to start in alphabetical order, like I said. Betsy's going to say where this movie falls on her list from 1 to 10. And after she says her selection, I will say mine, and we'll just swap back and forth. So, Betsy, we're going to start off with the B's because there are no A's this year. Begonia is up first. Where do you have Begonia ranked?
So when we've been talking about this in the last few days, I think you and I have both been having a little existential crisis as to how to rank these because I don't think there's anything in the group that I downright hated. You could go back and listen to the episodes, and I think we were pretty positive about most of them. Or even the ones that we didn't love, we didn't hate them, okay?
Yeah, and every year we seem to have, okay, there's a grouping of 3 at the top, there's a grouping of like 3 or 4 in the middle, and then we have a bottom 3. This year is kind of no different. I have a top 3, then there's a middling 4, and then there's like a bottom 2. Maybe my numbers are a little bit off there. I can't do math right now.
I feel like mine is much more distinctly a giant clump all next to each other.
Yeah.
With teeny tiny differences, and I have shuffled that deck so many times. And then I've got the bottom. And unfortunately for me, Begonia ended up in the bottom, which shocked the heck out of me, but I think it's just a numbers game. I liked other movies better. So I have Begonia at number 8. I thought the acting was really, really good. I like Yorgos Lanthimos' movies. I have liked all of them that we've watched so far. Of the movies this year that are doing relevant social commentary, I get it. I understand the thing. It's also weird as shit.
It's weird to have it come from Yorgos. Of all people, Begonia is the movie that is taking on like big, powerful corporations and corporate people. He's kind of the last guy I expect to tackle that topic.
But it's also turning the idea on its head and making it about, is this woman an alien? I really enjoyed the movie. I just struggled with where to put it, and I couldn't put it any higher than 8.
Yeah, I think you and I are very much in the same boat here when it comes to Begonia. I have Begonia at number 7, but that doesn't really say anything about Begonia itself. It says more about the other movies that I have over the top of it.
All right, that brings us to our second movie alphabetically, which is our most recent film we just watched last week, F1 the movie. Trent, where do you rank F1 the movie?
I said in that episode, Betsy, that F1 was not going to be my bottom movie. And I've kept my promise. I have F1 at number 9.
It's not the bottom.
It's not the bottom.
It's close.
It's close. Okay. Giving the movie the benefit of the doubt, F1 just isn't a movie for me. The one thing that I said that might be controversial in the episode is that I think Brad Pitt has lost a step. Not saying he's completely lost his talent or anything like that. I just didn't believe him in this role. Now, the racing scenes and the excitement that we get from that, all done fantastically. But at its core, F1 is a lesser version of other kinds of dad movies that we have already covered that have been nominated for Best Picture. It is a lesser of those type. And that's why it's at number 9.
Well, Trent, you thought you would not have it in your last place. I, however, do. This is my number 10.
This is not surprising
This
to
is
me.
not surprising. If you listen to that episode, you can probably suss out why. But this is what I wrote, Trent. This movie is perfectly fine, and that's the nicest thing I can say about it. I watched this movie with you a week and a half ago, and basically 2 days later had completely forgotten it. I was re-listening to the episode after we posted it, and I just went, none of that's ringing a bell. And I was there for it at the same time as you.
And you know, we spent a good amount of time in that episode not really talking about the movie because there's not much substance to the movie.
It's a racing movie. They race the cars.
Yeah.
There wasn't a super complicated love story or, fighting between these two guys. Yes, all that stuff was there, but it wasn't so complicated that it made it interesting, but it wasn't...
It's inconsequential.
It's inconsequential. Yeah, it didn't really need to be there, but that's the whole movie. So that's why I'm like, it's fine. I know there are people who love that movie. Great. Maybe someday I'll revisit it once I'm removed from Oscar talk, and I'll be able to appreciate it a lot more than I do today.
That is fair. But Betsy, we got a banger coming up next. Frankenstein is the next up in the alphabet. Where do you have Frankenstein?
Frankenstein moved up and down a lot because I loved Frankenstein. I'm trying to currently convince you to take me to go see it at that local theater because they're bringing it back, and I wasn't able to see it on the big screen back in November when they had it.
We saw it in our basement on Netflix, and it looked great.
And guess what? Since we watched it last year, the rewatch rule doesn't apply once you start a new year.
After
so
this special, we can go and watch it again.
I know we can go and see it, and I'm desperate to do that. And it's one that I got really excited about. I love the technical stuff in it. I loved the acting. I loved the story. It moved me. There were a lot of movies that moved me, though, and I kept going, do I want to be moved or do I want to be impressed with the overall picture? I went with overall picture, and I put it at number 2.
Okay.
I really wanted this one high. I really did. And there's a couple other ones where I was like, is this going to be higher than Frankenstein? And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't put another movie above Frankenstein because technically, the way it looks, the way it's shot, all of the stuff that Guillermo loves to do, I was just checking extra tiny little boxes that pushed it up the rankings for me.
But not number 1, though.
Not number 1. I couldn't go that high. I was close. I was very close.
Oh, yeah.
But Trent, where did you put Frankenstein?
Well, Betsy, I did put it at number 1.
Yes!
Somebody had to.
Somebody had to. I didn't want to be the cliche because the last time we had a Guillermo movie, it ended up as number 1. I don't think you're being a cliche, but let me hear your reasoning to why.
All right. Frankenstein to me, I have never heard the full Frankenstein story. I've never seen another movie that is treating it seriously anyway. Talking, of course, about Young Frankenstein being the other one I've seen. But everything that you said about Frankenstein, between the fact that it is just a beautifully made and poetic masterpiece that I think Guillermo del Toro here really is treating with respect and admiration. It's the same thing I said in the episode. The thing I wrote down in my notes here for this special is, it is a beautifully dark and twisted tale, a poetic exploration of humanity, forgiveness, and man's hubris. Tell me that that is not exactly my shit.
It is. It is. I get it. For you, I completely understand why it's number one. And I think just as easily could have been my number one. There's just something I picked that's a little bit higher.
I think, Betsy, you and I are going to have the exact same top three. And I could make an argument to make any one of my top three my number one. I can make an argument for any one of them.
That is where I'm sitting, and that's why this was such a struggle. I kept staring at this list, and I'm like, it doesn't feel right.
It's all of these very small things that put it at the top for me for Frankenstein. It is the production design. It is how the movie made me feel, how everything looks. I was so impressed by the little tiny details that Guillermo loves to put in his movies. And this is no different. I don't care that it's not going to be on anybody else's top of the list. I don't care. This is my list, and that's why it's at number one.
Well, that brings us to our next movie. Speaking of things that moved you, Trent, our next movie is Hamnet. Trent, where do you have Hamnet?
I think Hamnet was always going to be the biggest question mark for me as far as where is Hamnet going to end up on my end of season list. Because it is one of these kind of artsy-fartsy movies that I talked about in the episode, and I've not actually seen the play or any kind of depiction of Hamlet. So at least in my mind, I'm going to be at a disadvantage going in to see the movie. But after coming out of it, it's not about that at all. You really didn't even need to know that the movie was kind of surrounding William Shakespeare and his family. And I think the movie is better as a result of that. But as I said in the episode, I came out of Hamnet feeling very sad. But I really also appreciated how much it let me feel the feelings that it wanted me to feel. And because of that, because I come to Oscar movies for a different reason than I do any kind of other movies, we really analyze these movies. And if they do evoke certain emotions out of me, I give the movie a lot more credit, which is why I ended up putting Hamnet at number 4.
Trent, I also have Hamnet at number 4.
I think it fits, though.
So for this one, it's just a very beautiful, moving story. And Chloe Zhao is such a talented director, and she's telling this story that I think is very familiar to her because it's all about nature. And I said in the episode, she's got such a great eye for doing these big, natural, outdoor kind of movies.
Yeah.
And Jessie Buckley is 100% going to win an Oscar. She is doing some of the best acting I have ever seen in a movie. I was really expecting it to be good. I don't think I expected it to be that good, especially because we've been hearing a lot of people saying that movie didn't touch me. It didn't move me. I didn't care. I thought it was too much. I felt manipulated. So many people are taking that approach. But you and I were very open to the experience of watching Hamnet, and it kind of cracked me right open. I was really a sobbing mess by the end of the movie, but I like feeling that way. I like having those cathartic experiences watching movies. And if you're not into that, I could see how you would not like this movie. But it was another one where I'm like, is this going to go as high as like 3, 4, 2, 1? Is this my top? And then I kept finding other things to put above it. But 4 felt right.
It apparently felt right for both of us. But Betsy, I have a feeling our next one here, we're going to very much differ on. Next up is Marty Supreme. Where do you have this delightful movie?
I sense sarcasm in your voice, Trent. Okay, so I re-listened to the episode, and if you listen back, you might say, Betsy really hated that movie. I did not hate that movie. I thought that it was very confidently made. I think the acting is really good. It's just that it is a movie about bad people doing bad things. and you're kind of supposed to root for them, and that's very hard to do. So I actually wrote something down after watching the movie that kind of encompasses what I felt about watching it. That scene in Marty Supreme when Gwyneth Paltrow gets a call from Marty and knows she should hang up, but can't help but be intrigued by his bravado, is the way I felt watching the movie Marty Supreme. I shouldn't like this. I don't want to like this. But damn if I'm not a little impressed with the confidence. Okay? So I just want to paint that in case you listen to the episode and think I hated it. But I did have other movies I liked better. It is not, however, the worst movie I saw. This, to me, is the one that falls in the middle, and I have it at number 6. I think everybody in it was doing a really confident, great job. Now that I've seen it once and I know what to expect, I might be able to watch it again and really enjoy it. I do also know that in the episode we said this is a movie that's going to be misinterpreted, and we have had people coming after us in the comment section.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that just goes to show you I wasn't wrong about that.
There are some Marty Supreme defenders out there, and I don't understand you people.
That's fine. You can love your movie. I don't have to love your movie the same way. It is at 6 for me of 10. There are better movies that I watched this year. There are also worse movies I watched this year. But Trent, I'm waiting because I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. Where do you have Marty Supreme?
So after I re-listened to the episode a couple of different times here because I wanted to solidify where I was going to put this on my list, I said that I quite enjoyed myself. I said that there are some elements here that I enjoyed. But something has to be at the bottom of my list, and that's where it is. It's number 10 for me. Because, Betsy, that movie pissed me off in a lot of different ways. We had a long discussion about Timothée Chalamet and his attitude in the movie and out of the movie, and the movie has sat with me over these weeks and months since we've seen it. It has sat with me and it has just rotted my soul. The more time that it has been with me, the more I hate it. Okay? Is it a terrible movie? Is it badly made? Is it badly acted? Absolutely not. But because, as I said in the episode, because there are no likable characters in the entire fucking bunch, I can't get behind it. I cannot even bring myself to watch it again. Marty Supreme is at the bottom of my list.
When I re-listened to the episode and then I was listening to all the other ones around it, I was like, I think Trent's putting this at the bottom.
You can't come out of that. You can't come out of that episode. I can't come out of it and not really consider, oh shit, this has got to be at the bottom, doesn't it?
Something has to go there. And unfortunately for the Marty Supreme fans, that's where it is for you.
I don't care about the Marty Supreme fans, Betsy. I am my own person. But with that, I think it is time for us to take a break. We're done with the first half. The next half is coming right after a word from our sponsor. We will be right back.
Are your ears tired of the same boring podcasts? Is the wait until the next episode of Never Seen It too much to bear? Then why not try Never Seen It premium content? The exclusive episodes on patreon.com/neverseenitpod take care of those hard to clean areas in your mind. It can handle dramas, romance, horror, and so much more. Use Never Seen It premium content during dental work, while skydiving, or even in your car. It's even gluten-free. So what are you waiting for? Try patreon.com/neverseenitpod today.
And we are back. What's the next movie, Betsy?
Well, Trent, our next movie is One Battle After Another, the latest from Paul Thomas Anderson. Where did you have this one in your rankings?
Betsy, I don't think it would be a surprise to have anybody say that One Battle After Another is a top 3 movie just in general of last year, Oscar nominated or not. One Battle After Another is a fantastically made movie, fantastically acted movie.
It's the presumptive winner right now.
It is. It really is. And yes, it is in my top 3, but on a personal level, it didn't affect me in the way that some of the other movies did, and that's why it's at number 3 for me. By no means am I discounting the quality of anything that I saw in it. It affected me. It made me cry. And I think a lot of the things that people are saying about it are very well merited, except for the folks who are saying, oh my God, it's one of the greatest movies of the past century. You're getting a little ahead of yourselves, guys, when you say stuff like that. But it is a fantastic movie that I look forward to watching again.
Another one that we watched last year, so as soon as we finish this special, we can go back and revisit it.
We can. But I will say about One Battle After Another, regardless of who's in the movie, who made the movie, anything under the sun, the content therein, I feel like putting this movie out at this time in this political environment is a really ballsy thing to do. And I appreciated the studio putting it out, the writer and director putting it out, and people just saying, yeah, what of it?
It is the most overtly topical movie in the bunch. Full stop.
Full stop. And I wish more filmmakers would do more movies like this. But Betsy, where do you have it on your list?
So everything you said, I agreed with, save one thing. It did not make me emotional. Oddly enough, it connected with you in that way more than it did me.
And I attribute that to the fact that the thing that made me cry in One Battle After Another is a dad thing. And that kind of stuff just gets me every time.
Regardless of being a parent or not being a parent.
I just have that paternal instinct.
Yeah, I thought the movie is really funny. I loved the weird, ironic humor that is throughout the whole thing. The acting is great. The score is a wow. It's absolutely incredible.
Yep.
There is great action. We literally just watched a movie for our Patreon yesterday that we said, hey, I think One Battle After Another was inspired by this other movie. So it's relevant. It's in our heads. As I said, it's probably going to win Best Picture. I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I have not loved every single one of his movies, but I respect the hell out of him. But because we're going with what we like and not what are the best movies, I have this one at number 5.
Wow.
I think this is my most controversial take this entire episode, and it's not because I wanted it at number 5. I just had 4 movies that I put above it, and I couldn't not put them there.
Betsy, just going against the grain every single year.
Listen, I started with an off-the-cuff list before re-listening to the episodes, and I thought for sure I would have this movie in my top 3. And then I didn't. That's just the way it goes sometimes. I'm really, really looking forward to watching this one again. I said it when we did the episode. This is a good movie. It's probably even a great movie. I just need to do it again to get from good to great. And because, as we established earlier, the rule is I can't rewatch it, It's at number 5. If we had done a rewatch, I'll bet this would have gone a hell of a lot higher for me.
And as you have said before about other Paul Thomas Anderson movies, upon rewatch, you like them better, for the most part anyway.
Oh yeah, I think There Will Be Blood. I liked it the first time I watched it, and the more I have watched it, it's a goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I think I could get there with One Battle, especially because it's so relevant to today, but I need to watch it again, and that was against the rules. So I'm sorry to all you people who are excited for it. I will still cheer if it wins Best Picture. I'm very happy for Paul Thomas Anderson to be getting his flowers at long last. Just for me, it's a number 5 movie. I'm sorry.
Okay. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
Don't get mad at me.
Don't get too ahead of yourself, Betsy. The Oscar ceremony is still weeks away from the time we are recording this and putting it out. We could have an upset on our hands, and I would be okay with that. But the next movie up to be ranked, Betsy, is another movie that came from Brazil. Last year we had I'm Still Here. This year is The Secret Agent. Where do you have that one?
I struggled with where to put The Secret Agent because I liked it a lot better than I did I'm Still Here. It's cheekier, it's funnier, it's cooler. But the thing that I kept coming back to, I wanted to put this higher. I really did. I just was a little unsatisfied with the end. If you had stuck the landing of The Secret Agent, this might have been a top 5 movie for me, but it ended up at number 9. And I felt really bad about putting it number 9. I wanted it to go higher, but I just kept coming back to those tiny differences to where should it fall? And there's just stronger acting or maybe a better ending or better action. There's just teeny little things that pushed this one a little bit lower. I think the cast is so interesting. It's got this really colorful non-actor group. Like they're all just really, they look like people. They're just people. And this got nominated for Best Casting. And that's why it's all these like people that don't look like actors just kind of living their lives. I'm so glad that Wagner Moura is up for Best Actor. I think he's giving a really subtle, great performance, and I'm so pleased he's in the group, and I look forward to what he does next. But yeah, it didn't quite stick the landing for me. I think it's something I actually would watch again, though, which I don't think the same thing about the one we did last year.
Yeah, I have a very similar opinion about The Secret Agent that you do, Betsy. I have it at number 8, but only because, hey, 9 and 10 just felt better fits for those movies. What I will say about The Secret Agent is that it is not what you expect it to be, which is why I think you and I are a lot more willing to give it another shot, knowing what we know about the big revelation in the movie, which really isn't even a revelation. But the themes that they're covering in the movie, where a person that you think is either very, very important or is not important at all, the theme of the movie is it doesn't matter whether or not that person is important if they are being persecuted. Anybody being persecuted should be treated at the same level.
And I think that's why I was struggling with this one. I liked all the bones. I like about 95% of this movie. If I watched it again, I think it would go higher. I really do, now that I know what the movie is and what it's about. But there were just things about it where I'm like, damn it, why aren't you a perfect movie? I wanted you to be perfect. Because if you were, you would have been a top 5 movie for me. But Trent, that of course brings us to our next movie, Sentimental Value, another international entry for the Best Pictures this year. Where do you have this one ranked?
It's really strange when we cover movies that have nothing to do with each other. They come from different countries. They have completely different casts and different filmmakers. But the themes that are being covered in 2 different movies nominated the same year kind of overlap. And that's what happened between Sentimental Value and Hamnet, where characters in the movie have a hard time expressing their feelings, their emotions, their trauma, whatever. So the characters who have a difficult time expressing that, they express it through their art. And yeah, that sounds like a really kind of hoity-toity kind of a art piece movie. And you're right if you say that, but you can't discount it just because of that. I ended up putting Sentimental Value at number 6, but only because, again, the other movies that I have higher up, I felt really affected me more, but I actually really enjoyed Sentimental Value, even though it is a much more lower key kind of story, but I can appreciate how they are telling it in the way that you have a character that is not a person. I'm not going to spoil what the character is, but we have a conversation in our episode about that. But what they are exploring in the movie is a way of being able to talk to your family. In this case, it is a father not being able to talk to his daughter, and vice versa, really. But the parallels between the characters here are presented in a way that you don't know that you're making those connections, and by the end of the movie, you realize it was there all along. So yeah, Sentimental Value, I have at number 6, but again, maybe if I had an opportunity to watch it again, it might have been higher. I have no idea. But where do you have it, Betsy?
I'm in the same neighborhood. I have this at number 7. I cried watching this movie. I thought it was funny in a really dark way. And I think there's going to be people who watch this and go, that's too dark. But it's kind of...
I like dark humor.
It's kind of my jam, like looking at this going, oh, that's a sick joke, but also I laughed at it. I think all of the actors are great from top to bottom of any movie, especially when it's such a small group of actors. All 4 of the stars of this movie got nominated for Oscars, and that just goes to show you how good the acting in the movie is. I liked that idea that you were talking about using art to express your feelings. It is weird that it happened twice this year. It's just that I liked the other one better. I liked both of these movies. Something's got to go at 7. Sentimental Value ended up there.
Well, Betsy, unless you're about to surprise the ever-loving hell out of me and all of our listeners, the next conversation could go one of 2 ways. Next up is Sinners. Where do you have this fucking vampire movie?
Here's where I am going to be a cliche because I have it at number 1.
Of course you do.
Okay, so here's the thing about Sinners. Most people, if you ask them, what are your favorite movies from 2025? They're either going to say Sinners or One Battle After Another.
For the most part,
For
yeah.
the most part.
That is the popular opinion.
Or they are just objectively the two best movies that came out last year, which is why it's really interesting. But Sinners got the most Oscar nominations, and it could go home empty-handed, which would devastate the hell out of me. But there's also a part of me that goes, what if it doesn't?
What if it sweeps?
What if it fucking sweeps? What if there is an absolute shocker turn of events and Sinners wins Best Picture? It could happen. I'm just saying they do that weird voting where if you're all picking 1 and 2 and it's the same, that could be enough to put Sinners over the top. Okay, I don't know. It's hyperbolic. I'm just saying, what if? But the reason that I have it at the top, and I thought, you don't really have Sinners at the top of your list, right? You're just doing the popular thing. But I listened to that episode again, and I have been thinking about this movie since last summer. This movie has incredible acting, incredible cinematography. The score is amazing. It bends the vampire genre in a new way that I haven't seen before. The original songs are great. It is funny. It is cool. It is sexy. I fucking cried at the end of Sinners. I did not expect that. I said in the episode, this movie overwhelmed me. I was on a fucking ride from the time that movie started to the time it ended. And I just genuinely think it is the best thing last year. That's for me. Is One Battle After Another gonna beat it? Probably. But I think if there was justice in the world, this movie would actually beat One Battle After Another because it checks every single box. And it does it with such confidence and flair that I haven't stopped thinking about it since we watched it in like July.
Betsy, nothing would make me happier than to see Sinners win the big prize, and all of the big prizes, really. Because when is the last time a genre movie won Best Picture?
It rarely happens,
I know. But I would still be ecstatic to see it happen. I have Sinners at number 2, and as I've said before, I can make an argument for any of the top 3 on my list to be number 1, and I would just be repeating all the things that you just said. It did not make me emotional like it did you at the end of that movie, but I did feel some genuine emotion during the course of watching it. And because we did watch it so long ago, and it has stayed with us all this time, I think that counts for even more. Not to mention the fact that the movie just looks fucking cool. And I give extra brownie points for cool fucking movies. So with that, Betsy, we have one more left.
That's right, Trent. Our last film up for Best Picture this year is Train Dreams. Where do you have this little movie that could?
Thank you for that.
It's another train reference.
Oh, man. I have Train Dreams at number 5. The thing I said in the episode about Train Dreams, I said, a life is a life no matter how simple it is. Every year, it seems like the Oscars, they really, really want to try to put one of these movies into the mix where I would describe it as a nice movie. There's no violence, there's no sex, there's no bombast, there's no cursing, there's kind of nothing that happens, but that's the point. Train Dreams is a story about a man living his life in a world that does not notice him, and he does not want to be noticed.
He doesn't need to be noticed.
He doesn't need to be noticed. He lives in a world where you don't have to be noticed in order to continue to live. It is such a story that doesn't ever get told anymore. I know this is based on a novella, so there really isn't a lot of content that needs to be put on screen, but you don't need it. A lot of the movie is just a whole lot of nature shots, but that's just really his life. He lives out in the woods with his family. He goes to work for a while, then he comes home. That's his routine. And it just proves that not every movie needs to have everything under the sun in order for it to be an enjoyable experience. But where did you have Train Dreams, Betsy?
Yeah, you're talking about movies that have everything under the sun. I have Sinners at number 1. I have Frankenstein at number 2. And I have Train Dreams at number 3. Okay? This is the most gorgeous movie of the entire year. It is so beautiful. Everything is outdoors. The cinematography is exceptional. The way they made this really moved me. I was moved by Train Dreams, Trent, and I was about a breath away from making this my number one movie.
Ooh, wow.
If Sinners and Frankenstein didn't exist, Train Dreams absolutely would be at the top of my list because we watched it a few weeks ago, and the word I used to describe it was romantic. This guy is haunted by things that happened in his life, and he is wandering around in the woods. And I found this romanticism to it, this time and place that is so foreign to us now. We live in this fast-moving, crazy world, and he has no part in it until just like a teeny moment at the end. And the climax of the movie, I just started crying, and I didn't know where it was coming from because it's not like there was anything tremendously sad that happened. It's not like they were trying to elicit this feeling from me. I just watched Joel Edgerton and started sobbing. It just moved me so deeply, Trent. And I didn't say it in the episode. We were talking about he should have been nominated for Best Actor. I'll say it on the record now, and you can come after me if you want. I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio needs to be in the category. I think Joel Edgerton should have his spot instead.
Amen.
There, I've said it for the record. I'm not dissing his performance. I just think if you watch Train Dreams, Joel Edgerton gives one of the most beautiful, subtle performances of the year, and it should be recognized for it.
Betsy, you say that we didn't have it recorded, but I'll tell you this, guys. As soon as we stopped recording that episode, I asked the question. It was me. Like, who would you take off? Who would you take off of that list? And from the other room, you just yelled, Leo.
I had to think about it for a little bit.
About half a second.
In the moment of recording, I wasn't ready to answer because I didn't have all the names at my fingertips. But the second we stopped, I checked the nominees again and I said, no, that's the answer.
It is.
And you can say what you will, but Joel Edgerton's performance in Train Dreams is one of the best of the year.
Well said. But Betsy, we're done. That is the 6th annual Never Seen It Oscar special. We're done.
This is insane because, again, we're still a month out from the Academy Awards.
When we're recording this, we're a month away. How the fuck did that happen?
Bless the voting members for picking movies that are actually accessible, or bless all of the people who are making sure these movies get put out in theaters or on streaming or just making them available. Like, international movies used to be so hard for us to see, and it was really easy to watch them this year.
I wonder if the Academy is pushing these studios towards that, because the interest in the Oscars ceremony and just the Oscars in general, the interest in the Oscars is going way, way down every year. Now, is that the fault of the streaming platforms? Is it the fault of the movie theaters charging too much money? Is it the fault of the filmmakers for not making movies that people want to see?
Or the people who run the streaming services never putting out the ones that we want to watch on any of the services? It's absolutely infuriating when you can't find a movie that you want to watch and you have 17 options.
I think that is a separate conversation we can leave for another day, Betsy. But for the Oscar conversation here, I don't know, maybe half of these movies I would have watched either way, whether they got nominated for Best Picture or not. I am always glad, though, that the attention is put on some of these international movies that we would never, ever even look up to see what the hell they're about, much less watch them and talk about them.
Or these little independent movies like Train Dreams. You know, when would we have ever thought to watch that movie?
Right. And even though it didn't get nominated for anything, it was in the conversation when we were talking about Sorry Baby. At the Golden Globes, Julia Roberts was on stage right before she presented the best fucking movie. Hey, you guys should watch Sorry Baby. No matter who wins this, you should go and watch Sorry Baby. So it is the titans of the industry that I feel like need to be out there a lot more to bring attention to these smaller movies. I think, if anything, Betsy, the Sinners of the world and the Ones, Battles, Afters, and Others movies of the world, the big budget movies are going to exist no matter what. Maybe take a little bit of their budget and throw it towards some of these smaller filmmakers, because you will get some gems.
Or help them ride your coattails in some way. Like, bring them along with you.
Yeah. So with that all being said, we have reached the end of our Oscar special. Let's recap our top 10, starting with Betsy. What are your top 10, starting with number 10?
At number 10, F1 the movie. Number 9, The Secret Agent. Number 8, Begonia. Number 7, Sentimental Value. Number 6, Marty Supreme. Number 5, One Battle After Another. Number 4, Hamnet. Number 3, Train Dreams. Number 2, Frankenstein. And my number 1 movie, Sinners.
And for my top 10, number 10, Marty Supreme. Number 9, F1 the movie. Number 8, The Secret Agent. Number 7, Begonia. Number 6, Sentimental Value. Number 5, Train Dreams. Number 4, Hamnet. Number 3, One Battle After Another. Number 2, Sinners. And my number 1 movie, Frankenstein. Yeah, those are some good lists, Betsy.
And as you kept saying, it could just as easily have been shuffled around. Like for me, I have like 1 through 7. There's different qualities within all of those where I could see them all moving higher or moving lower.
Yeah, and for me, the top 3, I can make an argument to have in any of those orders. The next 5, I could jumble around and make an argument for whatever that is. But my bottom 2, 9 and 10, those were locked in very early in the process.
I feel like mine are really 1, 2-2-2-2, and then 5 or 6 or however that works.
Yeah. But guys, now that you know our top 10, we want to know what your top 10 is, or top 8. If you haven't had a chance to watch all these movies yet, we know it is a big task. We've been doing it now for over 6 years. Betsy and I have been watching these even without a podcast. We want to know what your ranking is. Please email those to neverseenitpod@gmail.com. In addition to your rankings, what have we missed? What are the other movies that are in the conversation? Which ones didn't make the cut? What are the other acting nominees? Like Ethan Hawke got nominated for Blue Moon. Should we watch that one? How about that Rose Byrne movie, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You? Have you seen these movies? Should we watch them? We're not going to cover them for the show.
Or what about the other international movies we've heard great things about? It Was Just an Accident. We suddenly have an entire month before the Oscars where we could actually spend a little time watching these movies, and we normally don't have this time. But we just need to know, what do you think should be the priority? Like, what are your 3 top movies that are up for an Academy Award that we should prioritize before the Academy Awards next month?
Again, email all these thoughts to neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Go to any of our social media pages. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. We're on everything. But if you're not into a whole lot of Oscar talk here, we understand. We got you covered. Go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where we put out 5 other shows every single month. If you're a fan of horror movies, we got an entire show about horror movies. If you like romance movies, Betsy subjects me to a bunch of rom-coms that I would never watch by myself.
We also talk about our favorite movies, because this podcast is about the movies we haven't seen before. That's a show where we can talk about the movies that we love.
There's also a show where we have no control over what movie we watch. We hit a randomizer that takes us to a random year between 1960 and 2010. Whatever movie happens to be playing at the time, we have to go and see that movie. It's called the Wayback Machine. And the final show we call the Conversation Pit, where Betsy and I just sit down and talk about a topic that has nothing to do with movies. And from the reports that we hear from you guys on Patreon, it's some of your favorite stuff. So please join us, won't you? Patreon.com/neverseenitpod. So with that, Betsy, I feel like we should probably tell people what we're doing next month, because we have a reputation around these parts where after the Oscars, we go into the fucking gutter.
We've been doing the Best Picture nominees for so many weeks, talking about Oscars. It's time we go back to our roots, and we have picked a series that takes us into the gutter. We're back on our bullshit once again, because our next series for the month of March is When Animals Attack.
Take that however you want to interpret it. When Animals Attack is the next series. We're not going to tell you what the next movie is, because honestly, we haven't decided yet.
We've got days to figure that out.
We got days to figure it out, exactly. So come back next week for When Animals Attack. Until then, my name's Trent.
My name is Betsy.
This has been Never Seen It. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.